Apple just lost big. We're talking $634 million big. And it's not over yet because the company that just won this wants even more. All this has to do with the blood oxygen sensor on the Apple Watch. So if you go into your Apple Watch and you see this icon right here and tap it, this is how you could get your blood oxygen reading. Now, a lot of this started back in 2020. Masimo filed their first patent lawsuit against Apple, but it took them a few years before anything really happened. And it wasn't until they filed with the ITC, the International Trade Commission, where they actually finally won something. And they won it so big to where Apple had to remove all the Apple Watches with the blood oxygen sensor from all their US stores. And they were also no longer allowed to import any watch with those sensors on. Now, it went back and forth. Apple finally, just this last September, I believe, found a workaround. And the way it works now is the fact that you can go in, you can launch the app on any new Apple Watch in the US, and you can actually take a reading. So after you take the reading, you will not be able to see what that reading was unless you go on your iPhone and look at it on there. Now, there is a third-party app that will actually give you access to those readings back on your Apple Watch, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that here soon. But I also wanted to mention Masimo is not done with their lawsuit. Now they're going after US Customs for allowing these Apple Watches in, and of course they're also suing Apple again for having these watches because they still say that this infringes on their patents, even though the ITC decided it didn't. But the ITC, since they're getting sued, they're now reviewing it again and trying to figure out if it really does or not. And we should have a result as far as the ITC ruling within the next probably 30 days or less. So that means the Apple Watches that get imported could be losing this workaround to where now they won't have the ability to do the readings at all anymore. Now, once again, this only affects US Apple Watches. If you buy an Apple Watch outside of the US, you are fine. Masimo doesn't have the ability to block any of those as of now. So also, if you already have an Apple Watch and you're worried about losing this workaround or losing the feature that you had on your older watches, you are also okay. Masimo does not have access to disable that, and the ITC cannot force Apple to disable it either. That has to be done at higher levels, and so far there hasn't been a ruling that blocks Apple from removing it altogether on all their watches. But as promised, I wanted to show you this app. So it's called O2 Buddy. And what it does is it displays a list of all your O2 readings directly on your Apple Watch. It also gives you today's average and yesterday's average. So you have access to more than what you ever had when the Apple Watch had this feature built in. And it only costs 99 cents. It's a one-time purchase. You don't have to pay monthly or anything like that for it. Once you have it, it is yours. And once again, if you have a watch that has this feature on it currently, you don't have to worry about losing this feature. That will not go away. But how this app works is there's an iPhone app. So once you do a reading, the iPhone app grabs that reading and then sends it directly back to the watch. One other thing that I did want to mention about the iPhone app is that it does require background app support to be able to work because it has to grab that info all in the background. That way you don't have to launch the app every single time. But I did my very best to keep it as minimal as possible. There's no app tracking or anything like that. But I did include a little guy that waves to you. The app also includes complication support, so you can have quick and easy access to the information and to be able to launch the app. If you're interested at all, the link to download the app is in the description. So it's another kind of workaround to the workaround, and I actually developed this app. If you didn't know, I develop apps by day, and then I try to make YouTube videos at night. I just love everything Apple, so I'm always trying to do stuff that I find fun, and this was one that I found fun to create. So it was crazy that it even worked. I made a whole video on it when I first released it because I honestly expected Apple to have to reject it, but it's still out there, it's still working, and the way Apple usually works, if they ever decide that they should not be allowed to have this app in the App Store, Anybody that downloads it beforehand will always have access to it. They don't pull apps from the App Store and then also pull them from your devices. They do have access to do that. I don't know if they've ever done that before, but I'm pretty sure if they ever do, it's probably going to be something that is a harmful app rather than something that is just infringing on some kind of patents or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. If you do get the app, you should be good. It's only 99 cents and I seriously made it as cheap as possible. So what's happening next with Masimo, Apple, and your Apple Watch? Well, right now Apple is appealing the $634 million verdict, but that could take 1 to 2 years before anything is decided there. The ITC, as I mentioned, is doing a ruling on whether this workaround breaks the patent or not. That should be like a month away. Masimo is still suing the US Customs and Apple and trying to do all this stuff. But also, I'm pretty sure their patent on this tech only goes until like 2028. That's what I remember seeing pretty much everywhere. So in 2028 or around maybe by 2029, Apple should be able to bring this all back the way it always worked, because that patent will expire at that point and then anybody can make the stuff. So we don't have that much longer left. Even Apple's ruling on this, by the time all that's done, they could probably have it fully functioning again in the US and everywhere else. But what's going to happen to your watch in the meantime? Any watch that you currently have will continue to work as it's working now. It's really only going to affect the next generation of watches or anybody that buys a watch later on this year. So if you are in the market to buy a new Apple Watch, right now is probably a good time because Black Friday is coming up. You'll probably be okay to buy one when all the sales hit, so keep that in mind. And I just want to know, what do you think Apple should do in this? Should they just start paying Masimo? Because Masimo said they would accept payment to have this feature fully work on the Apple Watch. Nothing has been discussed on how much that payment would be. Should Apple just go ahead and do that for the next 2 years just to get it all done, get it out of the way? Or should they continue this fight and have us continue to use these workarounds and all that stuff? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget about the O2 Buddy app. If you are interested at all, the link is in the description. And if you want to watch my original video on it, on how I made it and everything like that, just a little more detail about the app, you can click right here. And if you happen to like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and I'll keep you updated on everything going on between Apple and Masimo with all these lawsuits, along with so much more that has to do with the Apple Watch. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.